Hi, my group number twos. Welcome to this week's reading. This week we are exploring the Lover's card. The Lover's card is the sixth card in the major arcanas, and it is a card about intimacy and connection and love. It is also about man's journey to find love, both spiritually and materially here on earth, because normally the picture is of lovers and then God or an angel above them. So it's a whole thing. Anyway, the spread we are doing today is from Labyrinthos, which is a free resource online, and I will put the link to the spread down in the description if you would like to go take a look. It is great, and it is super big. So this is the card, the Lover's card that pulled you in today. This is my Moonlit Tarot deck from Dark Forest. So I am going to put this card back into the deck, and I'm actually going to shuffle off camera because this spread is super a lot. So I'm going to quick shuffle and spread the cards all out to make sure they all fit, and I will be right back. So hold please. All right, welcome back, group number two. Hello. So this is the spread. It is 10 cards long. This spread is called the Lover's spread, a tarot spread for all forms of love. So this spread is going to go into some work we need to do, but it's also going to talk to us about all the different kinds of love in our life and give us little messages about those. So this spread uses a bunch of the Greek words for love. There's lots of words for love, obviously, in every language, but in Greek, they had specific words to describe specific forms of love. So they are a good resource to use when discussing love. So let's get into it right away. All right, group number ones. So this first card in the middle here, this is called the Underlying Issues card. This card talks about what stands in the way of love, what blocks you from giving or receiving love openly. So this is your block when it comes to love. And the card we have for you here is the Page of Cups. Page of Cups. Cards are so shiny. Okay, that's a little better. Page of Cups. So the Page of Cups is the puppy love card. The Page of Cups, they are a sweet, gentle spirit that believes the best of everyone, is always surprised, is always looking for the next kind of love, the next adventure in love. They fall really hard, they fall fast, this is puppy love. Your issue might be one of two things. One is the reverse of this card. We are somebody who finds it really difficult to open up ourselves to other people. We have a really hard time connecting with people and letting people in and letting our barriers down. That could be one interpretation of this card. Or the other one is we don't have a hard time opening ourselves up to literally anyone and everyone. We open ourselves up all the way, all the time. We trust everyone at face value forever and always. This can also be a problem in love and relationships because not everyone is deserving of our love and intimacy. This is just a fact. I am sorry that is the way the world is, but and that sometimes it is a disadvantage to be such an open and honest and loving person. This might manifest in giving our hearts away to people who hurt us, or continually giving people opportunities when they have again and again proven that they will never change and don't want to change and will continue to take advantage of you. So those are the two interpretations of this card. Either we're somebody who has a really hard time letting our boundaries down, letting our barriers down, not our boundaries, we don't want to let boundaries down, letting our barriers down and letting other people in, or we're somebody who has absolutely zero boundaries and we just let everybody, all comers in all of the time. Which is also not great for us. That is a more self-destructive type of love. I'm not saying that it's not good to be a trusting and loving person, but taking care of yourself is really where that can become an issue. If we're always putting other people's needs first and never ever our own, we become unable to meet our own needs. Sometimes not even sure of what our needs are, because we have taken on everybody else's expectations, right? So those are two different opposite ends of the spectrum, like need work on things. But often they come down to attachment issues, and I am not a therapist. So if you are having trouble in either of those directions, I would pursue therapy, or therapy-like content that is able to either teach you how to have good boundaries with people, if you are the open and honest and everybody is truthful all of the time person, or if you are somebody who has a really difficult time opening up to people, then we might also want to research into boundaries and what it means to have a boundary and what it means to have a barrier, and really discover and be kind with ourselves about why do we have this barrier? Why do we have this boundary? Why are we closed off? And start to work on those things in a safe, healthy environment that is safe for us. Okay? All right. So the next card that we have for you guys is work. What inner work has still to be done in order to open yourself up to love more fully? Or what has to be done in order to maintain love? And the card for you guys is the Chariot. The Chariot card, which is actually the 7th card, the one right after the Lover's card. And this card really talks about forward momentum, forward movement, seeing what needs to be done and going the fuck after it. So it seems like action. Action is what's needed to be able to more fully invest in love, to open yourself up more fully to love. Action is needed. Whether that means you need action in the sense of reaching out to others for help, or there needs to be action in yeah, actually, it really just seems like the action is that we need to reach out to others. Love cannot grow with just one person. I mean, it can. Self-love is a very real and true thing, but like, what I mean is relationship needs two people. And if you don't reach out to find the people, it's going to be difficult. So there needs to be decisive action done to open yourself up to love, whether that's finding groups of people that have the same interest as you, or maybe finding community in support groups that help people be more sociable if they have social anxiety. Yeah, those kinds of like actions to like reach out to people that could help us in our pursuit of love. Even just friends and family that are safe people, because I'm sure they would love to spend more time with you. So the next card we have for you guys, this card represents Philatuia. Philatuia, I think. I am not great at pronouncing words, but this represents self-love. How do you perceive yourself? This creates the foundation for all the other cards. What is your relationship to yourself? And the card we have for you, my group number 2s, is the 3 of Pentacles. Ooh, okay. So in this card, I'm seeing that maybe you put a lot of your value in what other people say or think of you. Like a lot of your self-image is built around how others perceive you or accept you or don't accept you. We put a lot of value in the words of others and in the expertise of others. So our relationship with ourselves might be a little bit strained, a little bit unknown. Because if you take other people's word about yourself over your word about yourself, you can very easily lose what makes you you and kind of just try to conform to what everybody else thinks you should be. Right? This happens with like parents and kids sometimes, where like the parent is like, nah, you're going to be a fireman when you grow up. And the kid's like, oh, my dad wants me to be a fireman when I grow up, so I'll be a fireman. And then they end up being a fireman and not really liking it. Or, yeah, a lot of that stuff tends to happen with parents forcing their ideas of what you should or should be when you grow up and such things. But it could be from other people, like our friends or teachers or something. Like you put a lot of stock and value in what other people say about you. So there's very little self-awareness. It's very based on what other people say. So I think some of the work that needs to be done internally is finding our own personal voice, finding our own autonomy, and giving that to yourself. So the next card we have, this reading is so long I had to write it out on multiple sheets of paper. So the next card we have for you guys is Phila. This is affectionate love, which is your friendships, your platonic friends. How do you relate platonically? What is the state of your friendships? And the card we have for you guys, my group number 2s, is the Fool card. Yeah. This makes a lot of sense with the person I am beginning to see in front of me. You are somebody who throws yourself head over heels into your friendships. If you like somebody as a friend, we are copying their mannerisms. We are doing what they want to do. We're following them around. We're like the puppy in this card that you normally see. We're head over heels for our friends. We're really doing the most in almost all of our relationships. We're doing the most to keep these friendships, to people please, to become what our friends want us to be. Again, a lot of stock in what other people think. Yeah, we would follow our friends off a cliff. If they wanted to go, we would do that. We're a little bit gullible when it comes to our platonic friendships. And I'm not saying this is like a super bad thing, you guys. Like, being so intimate with our friends is not horrible, but if it comes at the expense of our own self identity, our own self-worth, then there might be some deeper work to be done with ourselves about why we need to be what other people want us to be so badly. So the next card we have for you guys, this is Storge, or familial love. How do you relate to family? What are your common dynamics within blood or chosen family? And the card we have for you, my group number 2s, is, oh, the Devil card. Yeah. This makes a lot of sense to me. It is concurrent with this same message of relying on other people for self-identifying. The Devil card really talks about bondage, and it talks about bondage that we have entered into willingly. But it also talks about how if we saw through the illusion of the bondage, we would realize we're really free. This card in particular gives off very strong Lilith vibes, where she was the rebel of the family. You know, the myth says that like there was Eve and Adam and Lilith, and she ruined she ruined the garden by being herself. That she and the serpent are cohorts and whatever. Anyway, it's a whole thing. And I'm probably not speaking it correctly. I'm just saying it off the top of my head of what I remember of the myth. So, yeah, Lilith is this energy of do what you want when you want it. Because loyalty and bondage is an illusion. So that card being here in our familial love, it gives me this sense that your guides are trying to push you to realize that blood is not thicker. Actually, fun fact, I'm gonna go off on a tangent here for a second. Fun fact, the whole phrase of like blood is thicker than water is actually, the whole phrase is about how the blood of the covenant is thicker than the blood of the womb. And this means that the blood of a covenant, or like a promise that you share with someone, chosen family, as it were, is thicker than the people you were just happened to be born to. Like you just happened into this family. The connections that you make as a grown person are thicker and more self-actualizing than the ones you just happen to be born into. So I think your guides are pushing you to kind of see this dynamic between your chosen and your birth kinds of families, and realize that the person that you are is worthy of love and acceptance. And just because you're related to certain people does not mean you're bound to do or be who they expect you to be. You are your own individual person, and you deserve love and belonging with whatever way you want. Whatever feels right to you. And yeah, your guides are really harping on this, shaking the expectations of others off of your back. You don't need them anymore. You are your own fully realized person, and it's time that you let go of the need to be accepted by those who you just happen to be related to. So, the next card we have for you guys is Eros. This is romantic love. How do you relate to a romantic partner? If you have a partner, how would you describe your relationship? And if you're single, how do you relate to the idea of a partner? And the card we have for you, my group number 2s, is the 9 of Pentacles. Okay. So, if you are single, a lot of what I'm picking up here is that you really idealize who a partner would be, how they would be, what kind of person they are. They're going to solve all your problems. This is a thing. I actually just heard about this term on a podcast. It's called We Should Unpack This or something like that, and it's on Mickey Atkins' channel. Anyway, they were talking about this thing called limerence, which is where you're not in love with somebody, you just have this overwhelming obsessive connection with somebody because you think that this relationship will be the one. This is the one that will solve all of my problems and all the things will just fall into place if I could just have a relationship with this person. That's being in limerence with someone as opposed to being in love with them. So I have this feeling that we really idealize our romantic relationships. We really think of them as something to get us out of all of our jams. We think of them as our most prosperous relationships. And like, yes, if you have a healthy and wonderful connection, that relationship can be something that can fulfill all of your needs. And like, if you're a monogamous person, they might do that for you. But there is this sense that we, as a puppy love person, we really idealize our partners and what they can do for us. We really see romantic love as the pinnacle of love, and it might not be it. So there's this call to like maybe take everything with a bit of salt. See our partners as people and not as magical unicorns, although they might be magical unicorns. We should see them as flawed and individual people who also have their own needs and will also have their own bad days. Idealizing and putting on a pedestal our partners is not the healthiest thing for our relationship in the long run. Because eventually they are going to disappoint you. They are going to have a bad day. They are going to yell at you. Like, conflict is going to happen. Perfect relationships do not exist. So, perfect people do not exist. So, tempering our idealization of our partners could be a very helpful work for us when it comes to the love we have for our partners. Letting them be human just as much as we are human is a good thing to remember. So, this one over here, the next card we have for you guys is Pragma. This is enduring love. All right, so sorry. The next card we have for you guys is card number 7, Pragma. This is enduring love. How do you feel about commitment? This is the kind of love that develops over years of partnership, over years of friendship. This is developmental love, the kind of love that develops, not the kind of love that just like exists. It develops over time. So, the card we have for you guys is the 5 of Swords. Oh, this is interesting. Yeah, I kind of like this. So, you as an individual might view commitment as a thorny briar. We might see it as an inevitable devolving into conflict always. This might be because of previous relationships we've endured. It might be because of our familial relationships that we saw growing up. Don't know. But there's this feeling that like commitment always creates conflict. And you're not particularly wrong, because the the addition of time to a relationship means that we are more likely to see more sides of our partner. We're more likely to see more sides of our friends. We're gonna go through some tough shit together. And because of that, we're going to have conflict. This is just a part of life. This is a part of relationships. It's about how we deal with that conflict that will color the commitment. If we are in relationship with someone who is constantly attempting to create conflict, this creates a division between the two of us, right? But if we as people, two separate people, approach conflict in a teammate manner, in a manner that we're like, we are in this together, we have this conflict and we're gonna work as a team to get through it, this can actually like strengthen a relationship. Having these conflicts, having these really hard conversations and getting through them together can really solidify commitment. So I think your guides are saying, I know that it feels like having commitment just brings more conflict, but it's the way we approach the conflict that will determine the longevity of our commitment, if that makes sense. The quality of our commitment. Yeah, it's less about whether or not conflict will arise, because it will, and more about how we interact with that conflict when it does arise. So be less scared of be less like wary of the conflict and more wary about how we deal with the conflict, if that makes sense. So the next card we have for you guys is card number 8, Ludus, which is the playful love. This is, how do you feel about dating? How do you flirt? How do you let out your inner child? And puppy love. So this is like flirtatious, cute, adorable love. It doesn't have to be straight up romantic. It could just be playful. How your inner child views love as opposed to how your adult person views love. So let's look at what card we have for you guys. And the card, the card we have for you guys is the Lovers. Aww. This is how you view love. Genuinely and sincerely. Oh, you guys are gonna make me tear up. So this Page of Cups at the beginning makes a lot of sense now, of we are somebody who gives our whole heart, our whole self, our whole everything into love. And that's how we view love. We're somebody who loves deeply and fully and playfully and with our whole inner child. Our whole inner child is just desperately calling out, love, love me, love me, love me. And yeah, this playful love is how you express to people that you truly love them, that you want intimacy with them, you want partnership with them. You express it through this very childlike, innocent, beautiful version of love. And that's why sometimes it's really hard for you to let go of the idealistic image you've made of a partner or a loved one or anybody, because you see them as heroes of love. And that's beautiful, and sometimes it can get your heart hurt. So I love you, and I love this beautiful person that you are, and how even with, it seems, the hardship of others pressing you to be what they want you to be. I love how you have remained so open-hearted. That is very brave of you. Ooh, making me tear up, group number 2s. All right. So our last 2 cards. Card number 9 is mania. You might recognize that word from the Greek. But mania is obsessive love. When does your love go overboard? When have you caused harm with your love? And the card we have for you guys, my group number 2s, is the Knight of Swords. Okay. The Knight of Swords. You are fast. You are quick. You fall in love hard and fast. And I think this is why, like, there's so much of what other people think of me and what expectations they have and what and idealizing and all this stuff. All right, I don't know where the camera cut off, but you are somebody who falls hard and fast. You are somebody who falls prey to limerence a lot, or pretty often. You should look up limerence, because it might ring true with you and your current way of approaching relationships. It's when we fall hard and fast for somebody who is unavailable, who is not interested, who is just in a figment of your imagination. Like, for instance, when we fall hard and fast for somebody online who has only responded in like 2 sentences, but we have told ourselves this whole long story about what their love would mean and how we're gonna have babies together and how we're gonna do this Christmas and this thing. And it's this thing of where we as people tell ourselves this big romantic story when we don't have any evidence that's even remotely close to what is going to happen. It's falling hard and fast for the unavailable. So this is less about how your love harms others, because they're not really harmed by it. It's more about how your hard and fast love harms you. Because whenever a limerence is proven to be a limerence, I'm sure you find yourself grieving over the loss of a non-relationship, and you're like, why am I so sad about this thing that didn't even turn into anything? And it's because we like thought so long and hard about what it could be, right? Instead of realizing what it is right now, right? Okay. So let's stop hurting ourselves that way and take things with more salt. So the last card that we have for you guys is card number 10. This card talks about agape love, which is selfless love. How do you express selfless love? What do you give to others freely without expecting anything in return? And the card we have for you guys is the 8 of Cups. So the card we have for you guys is the 8 of Cups. Normally, the picture that is on this card is of a man who is walking away from 8 cups up a mountain. So, how do you express selfless love? What do you give to others freely without expecting anything in return? So, what I'm feeling from this card is that selfless love is a bit of a hard one for you guys. It's something that maybe we don't really understand yet, because we're kind of expecting something in return from these relationships. Even if they're not relationships, we're expecting this something in return, either validation or something like that. So there's a bit of a difficulty with this kind of love. What do you give others freely without expecting anything in return? I think that's part of it, but I think the other part of it is you give literally all of the things. The image is of a man walking away from all of his cups. So it's this thing of like, you leave it all on the table. You give all of your cups away. You don't keep any of your cups for yourself. You give 125% to your partners and to your relationships, and it kind of leaves nothing for you. So your version of selfless love is to give it all of it away, which is lovely for the people who are receiving it, but it leaves no cups for you. So there needs to be more work done around our self-love. We need to take at least one of our cups with us. Because if we have no cups left, like there's nothing, even if you wanted to give to somebody else, you don't have anything. You gave it all. So there's this need to find a way to selflessly give, but not everything. Yeah. You give all the cups. You give all the emotion. You give everything. To the point that you have nothing. So, more work around self-love. So, the last thing I'm going to do for you, my group member twos, is I have a new Affirmators deck, which is all about love and relationships. And I'm going to pull 2 cards for you, and that will be your reading today. I am sorry it is so freaking long, but it did have 12 cards, so it was inevitable. All right, let's see what we got here, shall we? Could we have 2 cards for my group number 2s, please? Oh, that one wants to come out, but this one does too. This is the one I wanted. Okay. I'm going to show you the fronts of these because they're super cute. So this is the front of my Affirmators cards. They're so cute. Okay, so the first card you got is Wait and See. Don't worry, I'm going to read it to you. And the other card you received is Humility. Oh, interesting. So, all right, let's do Wait and See first. Wait and see. Thoughts love to wander into assumptions and race ahead to the future. But what if you told them to cool their jets and chill a second? Today, you get to put your mental chatter on pause, to take a breath and simply wait and see how things play out before you let your mind run a marathon of imagined scenarios. Wait, and you'll see that waiting and seeing was a lot more productive than wondering and worrying. Insert audible sigh of relief here. There you go. All right. And your last card is Humility. I take a deep breath and release all of my desire to be right. Without right, what is left? A soft, pliable version of me that's willing to make mistakes and hear others' opinions and try doing stuff a different way. In other words, I get to take a pretty sweet, all-inclusive brain vacation. Some restrictions may apply depending on the current tenacity of my ego. Yeah, there's also this idea of perfectionism, and if it doesn't go the way I expect it to go, then it wasn't the perfect relationship. But perfect relationships don't exist, humans. Okay? Okay. So That's all I'm seeing from you, my group number 2s. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe because that helps me out so much on this channel. I hope you all have a blessed everything, and I will see you on our next reading. This was Pan. Bye, you guys.